Okay, so last night I'm standing in the bathroom minding my own business as one does, and I hear this scratch, scratch, scratch outside the door. So I open it up, and there's Ellie, sweet little girl that she is. And she's going to town on the carpet in the corner, like she's trying to tunnel into Narnia or something. So, I do the responsible thing and I tell her, Ellie, we don't excavate here in the hallway. It's not a mining operation. She gives me that look, where she's like, okay, I heard no, but what I really heard was try harder next time. So that really got me thinking, this is the second era of cats that we have had. We had cats like 15 years ago. And in that era, declawing was just a thing that you did. You went to the vet and, you got your shots, your spay or neuter, your declaw, your oil change, your alignment, all the stuff. Just get it done. No one batted an eye particularly. Uh, but, you fast forward to 2 years ago when we got back in the cat game and, you bring up the subject of declawing. Um, and you can't even say the word without some animal activist, descending from the ceiling above you to kind of take you out like a SWAT team or something. So, it's the whole we don't say that word. We don't say declaw. It's more of a, have you tried positive energy? Have you tried redirecting? Have you tried just being loving to keep them from scratching up everything that you own and love? Sustainable sissel posts and stuff like that. So, somewhere along the way, declawing went from yeah, this is something that people do to we'll cancel your entire bloodline over it. And that got me thinking, this whole thing feels like a psyop. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's big carpet. If you think about it, should we really believe that overnight, literally overnight, we went from claws are important to cats to every house in America getting wall to wall? I'm just saying. I think it's big carpet. I think they're protecting their quarterly earnings, and I think they're doing it at the expense of cats keeping their claws. So I looked into it, and by looking into it, I mean I totally made it up in my head while I was brushing my teeth. But back in the 70s, the National Carpet Council held a secret meeting. The code name was Soft Paws, Hard Profits. So, you had representatives from Carpet Co., Shag and Sons, Wall to Wall International, all the people. And they came to the conclusion that declawing was simply killing their profits. Every time a cat loses its claws, they lose, 15, 20 years of guaranteed hallway damage. And, if you think of any big business, that's just unacceptable. So we can't allow that to happen. So, the CEO of Wall to Wall Unlimited stood up in that meeting and he said, now hear me out. What if we convince people that it's morally wrong to declaw cats? Puts them on the right side of history. And they sell more carpet. So, it's a win-win as far as they're concerned. So, I did some research also into the statistics on this. This whole program of theirs, it projected a 37% increase in stair runners, a 52% increase in repaired hallway corners, and a 112% increase in landlord security deposits. Everybody was happy about this thing. So from that day forward, big carpet went to work. They funded things like Citizens for Ethical Claws, Americans for Intact Paws, Moms Against Smooth Furniture, or MASFA, as they're better known. They put out emotional commercials, I'm sure you've seen the black and white footage of the cat staring out the window with the tagline, "Somewhere tonight, a cat is thinking about scratching the side of your couch. Let her, she deserves it." Paid for by the Coalition for Responsible Flooring. I ran across some leaked quotes from certain executives. There was an internal memo from Shaw and Claw Industries. Every intact claw is a future sale lead in a high traffic area. Another one I found: "We don't sell carpet, we sell forgiveness for your decision to adopt a kitten." There's a CEO that said, "If we can get just one influencer to say declawing is evil, then we can move 5 million more square feet of apartment beige by Q4. Just think about that. But of course, Big Carpet will tell you that they've done the research and cats themselves are against declawing. They quote a recent survey where 94% of cats reported a strong preference for keeping their claws, but what they left out was that they surveyed 8 cats, and those cats all belonged to the industry executives. But, devil's in the details, I suppose. But I did a little bit deeper digging and found the real survey. And the real survey read as follows: do you prefer to A, keep your claws and be blamed for carpet damage, or B, lose your claws but also lose all responsibility for property destruction forever? 97% of cats responded B, and one cat specifically said, quote, "I can't wait to knock glasses off counters without leaving forensic evidence." There you go. Another one wrote, "If I'm declawed, I no longer have to pretend the scratching post actually does anything for me. I can go back to my core passion, which is yelling at birds at 3 a.m. Which makes sense. And meanwhile, Ellie's out in the hallway ripping up the carpet like she's on Big Carpet's payroll. And she probably is. Most cats are, I'm convinced at this point. I actually think she might have a sponsorship deal. So I've been scanning YouTube this morning to see if there's any commercials that she's done. Something with the tagline, "This segment brought to you by Ellie and the National Association for Carpet Retailers. Remember, folks, hardwood floors are for quitters." I think there's something to it. So put a 1 in the chat if your cat is clearly on commission from Big Carpet, or put a 2 in the chat if your dog's in on it too. So, for the record, I'm not endorsing declawing. I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun this morning. I think it's just my brain actually trying to cope with the fact that our hallway is now 60% carpet and 40% loose fibers. But I just thought I'd share what I found. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Courtroom Files pre-show. Who do we have out there today? Austin, good morning. Michael, good morning. Ashley, good morning. Mom, good morning. A couple other people looks like are out there but not announcing yourselves. Dan's breakfast reminder, I got stuff sitting over there. Freya does that all the time with the carpet in here. Yep. Sabrina does that to my chair. Oh yeah, the 2 other chairs here in the studio are absolutely destroyed. Michael says, "Sounds legit." Ashley said it's a safety thing. It gets different with indoor cats. Cats have hypnotic powers. Yeah, check out the corner of Eli's door in his room. Same thing. Yeah, I heard about that. I gotta take a look at that yet. Oh, well, what are you going to do? So how is everybody today? Doing well? It is Thanksgiving Eve. This day is 2 days traditionally in the United States. It is the biggest travel day of the year. The other thing that people don't realize that today is statistically it is the biggest drinking day of the year. The bars are swamped tonight. And it's from people who have the night off but don't travel and just want to go get wasted. It's also from people who do travel. They get to their destination and they want to do something, but they don't yet want to go visit their relatives until they absolutely have to. So if you have to be out on the road tonight, beware of the drunken drivers. They will be aplenty this evening because that is how today works. But tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We should all be thankful. I find myself thankful for many things this Thanksgiving. Thankful for all of you, of course. Thankful for what we've been able to build here over the last year. Thankful to still be getting up every morning and see the sun rising. Thankful for my family. Thankful for my wife. Thankful for my children. All of that. You would think Friday night would be. That's a big one too, but yeah, Wednesday's actually bigger. It's a big drinking day. Oh, so golly geez. Couple things we can go through here. By the way, there are some courts this morning. We will have some things to show. Judge Collada in Lake County has started his feed, though he hasn't actually come into court yet. Judge Anzalone is going. Judge Glazer did not take the day off. We'll have to see if her audio has taken the day off or not. Judge Mertz is queuing people up in Otsego County. A few things we can probably look at. All right. So where to start? All right, we still have the soup story, or we have high school football coach story. 1 for soup, 2 for football. Let me know where you want to go. By the way, I didn't have time to dig into it. But, we just talked about big carpet. I hear big furniture was like hold my beer on that one. So I'll have to do the research there. Soup it is. It's from a couple of days ago, just now getting to it. Campbell's Soup executive allegedly calls company products shit for poor people in secret recording. That's super cool. Accusations are making the rounds after a Campbell's Soup company executive allegedly made disparaging comments regarding the company's customers and employees. The executive was secretly recorded during a meeting, according to a lawsuit filed in Michigan's Wayne County Circuit Court. The suit, filed by Robert Garza, a former cybersecurity analyst for Campbell's Soup. Isn't it amazing that a soup company needs a cybersecurity analyst? Alrighty. Companies aren't bloated at all. Anyways, he accuses Martin Bally, the company's vice president and chief information security officer. What is with security around Campbell's Soup? Apparently they have none because all this leaked, but this guy's got security in his title too. Anyways, accused him of making the offensive comments during a meeting in November of 24. Garza recorded the conversation, which he said took place at the company's headquarters in Camden, New Jersey. Why was the suit filed in Michigan then? That's weird. Anyways, in the recording, a voice alleged to be Bally's can be heard criticizing Campbell's products and mocking its customers. We have shit for fucking poor people. Who buys our shit? I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore, the voice allegedly belonging to Bally can be heard saying. Bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer, Bally alleged saying, belittling Campbell's Soup ingredients. He also allegedly made derogatory comments about Indian co-workers, and according to the recording, claims he sometimes came to work under the influence of marijuana. Effing Indians don't know an effing thing, the voice said on the recording. They couldn't think for their effing selves. Garza, who began working for the soup giant in September 24, told Local 4 News that he initially kept the recording private but changed his mind and decided to report the comments to his supervisor. The complaint stated that Garza was terminated approximately 20 days later, and he is accusing the company of maintaining a racially hostile work environment. Sounds like it's a customer hostile work environment to me, but either way, Garza's attorney said his client was, quote, really sticking up for other people and alleges that the termination was retaliatory. Probably was. Campbell's Soup Company spokesman told the New York Post that Bally had been placed on temporary leave while they conducted an internal investigation. Oh, does any of that really surprise you, though? I've kind of been coming to the conclusion that I should stop acting like I'm shocked at things because the world is telling us what it is and people are telling us who they are. So, shouldn't be shocked about this stuff anymore. It tracks, some C-suite executive insulting their customer base. Yeah. Campbell's allegedly using 3D printed meat. Yeah. It all tracks. I don't eat Campbell's. Well, I do eat Campbell's soup from the chunky soup standpoint. We do get that from time to time just to have a quick meal. Maybe I should check the ingredient list a little closer. I don't know. Austin, guilty. You're sentenced to eat Campbell's soup 3 meals a day for the next 20 years. That'd be hilarious. I wouldn't want a person like that representing my company. I agree with you, Michael. But I will tell you from my time in the corporate world and having dealt with C-suite level executives in multiple industries that there's not a lot of humility in most of them. There's a lot of arrogance and a lot of looking down on the people who are actually responsible for getting them their paycheck. It's a sad state of affairs, but it is completely true. And, none of this surprises me. But this story has been making its way around for a couple of days now, and it will be interesting to see kind of what happens to their sales here in Q4, because traditionally this is a good time for Campbell's, especially with their cream soup varieties, cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, cream of celery, because of the way people cook this time of year. We're doing casseroles and things like that involve those soups. But I will also tell you that, here we have Fry's, which is the Kroger equivalent, and honestly, the Kroger brand cream soups are just as good, probably come down the exact same assembly line, and they're about a third cheaper. So I can't honestly tell you the last time I bought Campbell's for even the cream soup variety. But makes me wonder if the mushroom in the cream of mushroom is 3D printed too. Anyways, thought I would share that one because that's kind of fun. But again, nothing shocks me anymore. It's not surprising that you've got some executive who, thinks he's all that in a bag of chips and everybody else is horrible. Big shocker. Yeah, plus late fall and winter are good times for soup anyway, as it's nice, hearty, warm meal on a cold day. I agree. But I'm sure this will be a big boom for Progresso. I'm sure they'll do better now. All right, what else can we do? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to do the football story. Put a 2 in the chat if you want to hear a messed up story. Well, let's see hold on a minute. All of a sudden this is like locked up, this web page. Okay, there, it's back. All right, so put a 2 in the chat if you want to hear a messed up story from the country of Turkey. And I bring this on because, it's Turkey Day tomorrow. So that's what they mean, right? When they say Turkey Day, they mean the country is what we celebrate. I don't know. 1 for football, 2 for turkey. Where do you want to go now? Choose your adventure. Everybody's like, Burka! And Mom's the contrarian. Well, Mom, we might still have time for your story, too. All right. A legal story, but more people behaving badly. Big shocker. What do we see here on TCF time and time again? Virginia high school football coach considered fugitive following mysterious disappearance. Virginia State Police have launched a manhunt for Union High School football coach Travis L. Turner, 46, who has been declared a fugitive following his disappearance from home. Authorities announced Tuesday they had obtained 10 warrants issued Monday to charge Turner with 5 counts of possession of child pornography and 5 counts of using a computer to solicit a minor. Here we go again. But again, nothing surprises me anymore. I'm not surprised. The world is telling us what it is, and it just continues to prove it time and time again. Authorities said the investigation remains ongoing and additional charges are pending. Turner, who disappeared last week, is now considered a fugitive. We've said that already. How many times do you have to say that, article? According to the state police, Turner was first reported missing Friday, November 21st, one day after troopers went to his home in Appalachia, Virginia. Special agents with the VSP Bureau of Criminal Investigations Wytheville Field Office, that's a lot, were en route to the residence on Thursday as part of the early stages of an investigation not to make an arrest when they learned that Turner was no longer at the location. Since his disappearance, police have deployed search and rescue teams, drones, and canine units in an effort to locate him. Quote, "Our main priority is locating Turner safely," the VSP said in a statement, noting that the search is ongoing across multiple jurisdictions. Leslie Caudill Turner, the wife of the missing football coach Travis Turner, responded after her husband was charged, telling the Daily Mail that, quote, "None of that is true. He's a good dad and a good husband, and we want him home. That's it," she said. "I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I'm sorry. We are all just hanging in there until we get news," she said. Recent video surfaced from Union Sports Network's Instagram feed is now believed to show Turner's final public interview. Before his disappearance, the interview was conducted on field at Bullitt Park in Big Stone Gap, Virginia, moments after Union's 40-7 victory over Lehigh. Quote, "I thought our kids adjusted, played hard, and overcame some adversity," Turner said, noting that his team pushed through questionable penalties. "There was no panic. We just continued the course and played football." At the time, Union High was undefeated and preparing to face defending national champion state champion Graham High School in the following week's playoff matchup. Turner's disappearance has left rural Virginia community reeling. Big surprise. The superintendent of the school says a staff member has been placed on administrative leave with pay while an external agency reviews the allegations. This is standard procedure and is not a determination of wrongdoing. So yeah. Again, the world is telling us what it is. Don't be shocked. Saddened, perhaps, but I don't understand, I suppose. I mean, again, I'm not shocked by it, but I don't understand it. I don't understand why it is that so many adults run to all of this kids stuff. It's got to be broken brain, I suppose. It can't be that hard to get the stuff that you want from adults. I mean, we've got 57 different app options on our phones to look stuff up and get a hookup in like 5 minutes. It's not that hard. I don't know. People, I guess. I'm thankful that my child is not in a school like that where he has to worry about that stuff. I'm thankful for that this Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that we made the effort to educate that young man ourselves. He has a lot of blind spots and a lot of things he's not good at, as any child and any adult and any human being has. But I will argue that the stuff he is good at, he's better at than most people his age. And I will argue that he is better adjusted as far as how he communicates and deals with people and all of that. And he certainly has not been messed around with by a high school football coach. Just saying. With nobody calling in and a couple of minutes left, Mom, we have time to go to Turkey. You'll love this story. Again, it's law related, but international law. It doesn't have to do with the United States this time. We talk about how messed up the United States can be. Time for somebody else to step up. Boy 15 dies after coworkers insert high-pressure hose up his rectum in horrific prank. A teenager woodshop apprentice in Turkey died after his coworkers inserted a high-pressure air hose. As we already know. The latest incident in which a power tool has killed a young man by exploding his intestines. Note the term latest incident. The dark joke turned deadly Friday when a name I can't pronounce and a friend allegedly overpowered Mohammed Kendirsi, 15, tied his hands at the woodworking center. They allegedly forcibly removed his pants, shoved an air hose into his anus, causing severe internal organ damage. He was rushed to a hospital where he died 5 days later. Aksoy, who I believe was the perpetrator, was arrested and released on probation before ultimately being detained again. His charges were not immediately clear. The high-pressure air hose, used for everything from auto repair to sanding to powering nail guns, has killed 2 other teenagers in recent years. In 2023, Motilal Sahu, 16, died from internal injuries after a coworker inserted it into his rectum for fun at a factory in India. And then another name I can't pronounce allegedly grabbed the hose of his cleaning machine and shoved it into a teen's anus, damaging his intestines. He collapsed on the floor and later died from internal injuries. In 2017, a 17-year-old car wash worker died after colleagues blasted a high-pressure air hose into him, causing his intestines to explode. Again, the world tells you what it is. It doesn't hide from you. That is sick and insane. What the hell is wrong with people? I wish I knew, Mom. I wish I knew. Some kind of hazing thing, undoubtedly. But, you know, I'm happy to see it doesn't involve the United States. This was like India and Turkey. But who even thinks of this stuff? I mean, I don't know. I don't present this stuff to you, by the way, to like get you riled up or to get you angry or to make you sad or anything like that. I just present it from like a, what? Really? But in the same respect, like I said, you shouldn't be surprised anymore. World's telling us what it is. We have to rise above, though. We have to be better. I think that's the one thing that we have is this group. We're better people than that, for sure. We're better people than most of what we see. And we need to shout that, my friends. We need to model how to be good people. We need to model how to get along, how to conduct ourselves. Because ultimately, that's the only thing that we have against the depravity that we keep seeing more and more of every day. I've talked before about a spiritual battle, good versus evil, light versus dark, all of that. The sun is the best disinfectant. Light trumps darkness. So we have to just model being good people. Go bungee jumping or something. Solid advice, Ashley. Solid advice. So, yeah. All right, my friends, that's about all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed the discussion on big carpet at the beginning of this. Give me just a few minutes to figure out where we're going to start our day, and then we'll get rolling. Let's have a good day today. I think I have a new sponsor today for the show, if we can get to it, so that'll be good. And if I can get it done, I think we might run a best of show tomorrow for Thanksgiving, but we'll see if I can get it done. This episode brought to you by Touch Grass. Yes, indeed. Visit us online at touchgrass.com. All right, friends, give me a moment. Be right with you. Hang tight.